I make the world graphical.
I add value through my products.
I am an animator.
I am a filmmaker. I develop trends.
I transform designs to reality.
I create environments.
I translate stories to furniture.
I design experiences.
I am an immersive media designer.
I design mobility.
This is not only a design institute.
This is a design lab.
Join us in our design movement.
Hello and good afternoon everyone. I welcome you all to the series of webinars and workshops by MIT Institute of Design. Since last 5 years, as a part of Design Connect program, we are interacting with design aspirants through various webinars and workshops. Since last 5 years, where experts share their experiences with the young budding designers. This year, we have moved one step ahead by keeping these sessions more interactive and engaging students so that they get hands-on experience on various topics of design. So here we are for today's Design Connect, WARP and Weft by Professor Vandana Tripathi Nautiyal, Assistant Professor, Fashion Department and Core Faculty for MDes Fashion Management and Marketing at MIT Institute of Design, MIT ADT University, Pune. I feel honored to welcome and introduce Professor Vandana Tripathi Nautiyal. She comes from textile and marketing background with varied experience in industry and academics. She holds a diploma and graduate degree in textile design and postgraduate diploma in textile management from Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International School of Textile and Management, Coimbatore. She is a keen researcher with interest in areas like sustainable business models, innovation, business and design strategies. She has presented and published her work at various renowned platforms in these areas. She was also associated and actively worked with an NGO for textile handicraft product development, where she was appointed as trainer to various SHG clusters for National Center for Jute Diversification programs. She has been associated with organizations like Godrej, School of Art and Fashion Technology, Ratan Jaipur Private Limited and the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda. So now I request to Professor Vandana Tripathi Nautiyal to take over the further proceedings of the session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Bhavika for opening up this workshop session, WARP and Weft. Very warm good afternoon to all of you, and it's really very overwhelming to see the number of registrations that we have got for this workshop, and it's more overwhelming to see that even during these difficult pandemic times, how each one of you is trying to explore and learn newer things with the help of these new mediums. So a big kudos to all of you, those who have joined and are participating in this workshop today with us. Hi, I'm Professor Vandana Nautiyal, and today I'm bringing you with a very, very interesting workshop, WARP and Weft. It's a very hands-on workshop where you definitely, towards the end of the workshop, you are definitely going to enjoy the techniques that we are going to learn, and also you are going to create some interesting and portfolio worthy masterpieces that could be a part of your portfolio for your design entrance examinations. Okay, so before we get into the content of the workshop, I have a little presentation for you people to make you people understand that what is MIT Institute of Design, who we are, and what we do here. For those who are new to this workshop session with us, to let them know that MIT Institute of Design, every year we conduct various workshops and webinars for design aspirants, where they get to learn and know more about the field of design, and it helps them prepare and choose the right kind of design profession, design as a discipline in future. So, okay, let's get going with our presentation first. Can we have the presentation? Yeah, so this is our beautiful campus here at MIT Rajbagh, Loni Kalbor. This is the top view of our campus. And these are the few accomplishments by our university. So we have been ranked as 5-star university, and we are one of the best campus by ASSOCHAM India, and we rank 26th by ARIIA ranking, and we are one of the top private universities in India for engineering programs. So MIT ADT University, Art Design and Technology University, is divided into 2 clusters. One is Technology and Management cluster, the other one is Creative cluster. So under Technology and Management, we have School of Engineering, we have MANIT, which is a Naval Education and Training Institute, we have Bioengineering, Food Technology, Management, Vedic Sciences, Corporate Innovation and Leadership, and Education and Research, schools and colleges. Under Creative clusters, MIT Institute of Design is a part of Creative clusters, and we also have our sister units as MIT School of Architecture, Sangeet Kala Academy, School of Broadcasting and Journalism, Film and Television School, School of Fine Arts and Applied Arts, and School of Drama. So it's a holistic education system that we follow here, and these are all the different units that we have here at MIT ADT University. And the vision of our university is to aspire to be the university of eminence by amalgamation of art, design and technology. Our university aims to have a transformative impact on society through holistic education, multidisciplinary research ethos, innovation and entrepreneurial culture. And in order to follow our vision, we have various initiatives that takes place at university level, at various institute levels, and these are one of the 2 important initiatives here under MIT ADT umbrella. One is the KRIA initiative, and other one is the AIC MIT ADT Incubator Forum, Atal Incubation Center. So these 2 initiatives are primarily to promote innovation and entrepreneurship amongst our students here at MIT ADT. This is the vision for our MIT Institute of Design, and we aspire to nurture a design, research and educational ecosystem to develop future-ready professionals, job creators with planet-centric perspective using cutting-edge technology. And these are our few mission pointers, and definitely the way we are working, we have been working, and the way we plan to work. Our motto is to achieve these vision and mission pointers through any of our initiatives that we do here at MIT ADT. Okay, now talking about what is MIT Institute of Design. So if I have to tell you it in one sentence, probably it's a clan of like-minded students and their faculty mentors. So we have around 1400 plus students and 65 plus full-time faculty members with 70 plus visiting faculty members from industry. And the institute was established in the year 2006. We offer 11 design disciplines in PG, UG, and we also offer PhD program. So these are the 4 verticals that we offer: industrial design, communication design, fashion and management, and 12 BDis program, 14 MDis program, and PhD in design discipline. Okay, so these are the few programs that we offer under industrial design: interior space and furniture, product design, retail and transportation design. Under communication discipline, we offer animation, film and video, graphic and transcultural, that's the MDES program. Under experience design, we offer user experience and immersive media. Again, immersive media is a master's program. Under fashion, we have fashion design or fashion and fashion communication. And under management discipline, we have design management and MDES fashion management and marketing. We also offer a postgraduate diploma in automotive sculpting, clay and digital, and also PG diploma in innovation program. So this is, these are our pillars here at MIT ID. These are our leadership team, the HODs of the various departments. At MIT Institute of Design, we have set up a center of excellence that helps fundamental and applied research in the field of design. The center also establishes credibility in the minds of stakeholders, students, faculties and industry. And it aims to evolve possibilities to take up institutional projects. So these are the various areas towards which our center of excellence is right now it's working on. Okay, so this is our website. Please browse through our website www.mitid.edu.in. Please look at the kind of courses that we offer, the details about the courses, faculties, admission process, if you have any query regarding the examination pattern. So all the contact details are there. You can always reach out to our admission team and get details from them. Okay, so now let's get started with our workshop, that's Warp and Weft. And before we start our workshop, I'm going to ask you these 3 questions. Can we have the presentation, please? Yeah. Okay. So why these questions at the beginning of the workshop? These questions have been put in front of you so that you'll be able to understand the relevance of what we are doing here. This workshop not just aims to develop few interesting art pieces, but at the same time, the aim here is to sensitize you people about certain issues that are happening around us that needs some design solution that needs to be addressed by us as designers. So, first question is, I want you guys to ponder upon, am I making world a better place to live? As a person living in this society, am I making this world a better place? Am I sensitive in my outlook towards things that are happening around me? Am I empathetic? So ask these questions to yourself. And if your answer is yes, then probably you have chosen a very right decision for yourself. You have chosen a right career option for yourself. You have all the traits to be a designer. Okay, so yeah, now I'm going to run through some visuals. And please excuse me because at the beginning of the presentation, probably these visuals are not very pleasing to look at. But it's very important to show you all these visuals so that you would be able to understand the relevance of what we are trying to achieve through this workshop. So what are we doing? A lot of pollution, again pollution, water pollution, oil spillage, again water pollution probably from a dye plant, landfill, plastic pollution, poverty, child labor. Okay, these visuals are really not very good to look at, but these are certain bad scenarios that we often see around us. These are things that are happening around us. And you know, as designers, I don't know how many of you have really looked into the definition of you know, design, but design is, in very simple words, it's basically problem solving. It's basically understanding the problem, empathizing with what's happening around you, observing and solving problems, coming up with various options or various solutions for that problem. So all these bad issues, I'm very sure none of us want these bad issues happening around us. At least if we can't do something for these bad issues around us, at least we don't want to see them. In some other way, back in our mind, we want to, you know, always want to solve them. Okay, so what do we do? How do we start changing these bad scenarios around us? How can we repair the damages that we have already done? And how can we further prevent these damages? Again, think, looking at those visuals, looking at your skills, your aptitude, your passion, you wanting to become a designer, right? Keeping all these things in mind, connecting various dots, I want you guys to ponder upon these 3 points and start building, first of all thinking about, empathizing about these issues around us and start thinking on these problems. From fashion industry perspective, fashion is a very, you know, biggest contributor of pollution creating industry across the globe. And you know, fashion is a very labor intensive industry. It you know, employs a lot of raw material to produce things, which eventually leads to a lot of pollution generation, right? And because of our consumption patterns as consumers, they have changed. Probably 10 years back or 15 years back, we used to consume things in a different way, especially when it comes to fashion. We used to consume the way we are consuming fashion today. That was completely different 15 years or 20 years or maybe 10 years back. And even it's, you know, it's kind of changing and ever evolving at a very rapid pace. But somewhere, at some point of time, we need to put a pause to what we are doing, because we cannot continue doing things the way we are doing right now. We are generating so much of pollution. Our industry, fashion industry, it's one of the largest pollution contributor across the globe, and we cannot, you know, live a sustainable life by doing what we are doing right now. Okay, I'm very sure at some point of time you might have heard of this term sustainability. It's a buzzword, it's trending, it's happening around us. Irrespective of any industry, I'm not just talking about fashion industry, but it could be any industry that you are into. Everyone is talking about sustainability because that is the need of the hour. And we need to protect our planet, we need to protect our people, we need to, because the way in which we are leading, we cannot continue to live in the same way. So we need to solve these various issues, these bad scenarios around us, and sustainability is the answer to these problems that we are facing. So what is sustainability? So technically it means meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own need. In addition, natural resources, we also need social economic resources. Sustainability is not just environmentalism, but is also concerned for social equality and economic development. Okay, if that's a very technical definition, but let me simplify it for you people, that if I have to put it in very simple words, so protecting your planet, protecting your people around you, your society, and in lieu of this, you're also becoming or building a sustainable economy or a sustainable business, right? So we cannot, again I'm repeating, we cannot keep on doing things the way we are doing, whether we are a business, whether I'm a consumer, whether I'm a person living in this society. We cannot continue doing the way we used to do various things. We need to change. And how do we change? How can we adopt this aspect of sustainability? One thing is that probably, as a concept, okay, protecting the planet, protecting the people around, taking care of people around me, as a concept it looks very nice to listen about. But how do I go about it? How do I achieve this? So for that, we need to find various answers that might fit to a particular situation. Sustainability does not have a one clear-cut answer to various issues. For every issue, there would be a way out to solve that issue in a sustainable manner. Our fashion industry right now is causing a lot of pollution, and within that further there could be certain sub-issues. So every issue needs to be solved in its own way, looking at the problem side of it. And one of the solution for sustainability can be upcycling. So upcycling is basically a design solution for planet. It's conversion of waste material to something useful or valuable. So one of the biggest problem, there could be n number of problems within the fashion industry which are causing harm to the environment or the society or to the economy as a whole. We need to pick one problem, right? And one problem here that we have tried to pick is the basically the waste material that is left with us, right? Anything, any garment or any fashion product that is left over with us, how can we still reuse that material, repeat that material, recycle or upcycle? So here we are specifically talking about the solution of upcycling, which is adding value to the existing product and making a better or a newer product out of the waste material or things that we don't use anymore or anything that is discarded. So just adding with the help of certain techniques and processes, the waste material that's lying around you, you're adding some value to that waste material and making a product that is reusable, that you can repeat, right? Instead of using virgin raw material, you're making use of waste material as your primary material and creating things. Okay, so this is a quote that I normally tell to all my students in my sustainability class, that good design make world a better place to live, right? So if you really have those traits that we discussed in our slide 1, right? So definitely you are the right fit for this profession, and I'm very sure that all of you tomorrow, you're the future for a country or for this world, and you will be creating some good designs which will be valuable for making this world a better place to live. Okay, so now let's get started with few terminologies. What is design? So design is everything. It's probably from the earrings that I'm wearing, to this watch, to these bangles, to this mat in front of me, to this laptop, to these particular key, to everything, to the camera that's in front of me, to the softboard behind me, to the paper, to the pins. Everything around me is designed. It's around us. Okay, so it's around us. It's not just about making things pretty, but it's basically to solve a problem. First of all, observing things, looking at the problem, defining the problem, and building various options as solution for the problem, and most important, to be empathetic while you're developing or even while you're looking at these problem pointers, So that's how we define design and designers. Materials, so various things, tangible things that we use while creating our designs. Definitely for creating these solutions, we need certain materials, right? And these are basically tangible materials. So depending upon the purpose, the usage, what kind of product we are designing, or what is the end usage, depending on various scenarios, we use specific things that are known as materials. So designer use material with specific functionalities in order to develop feasible design. So as a designer, I should be knowing what are the different materials that are available that I can employ or use, and what are the different properties so that I can use that material in a right way. Techniques. Techniques are basically the methods of accomplishing a design, and it is important for accuracy of your final product. So there could be various ways by which you are developing the solution. You should be knowing that which is the right way of doing a thing so that you achieve the final thing that you wanted. Okay, so these are a few textile terminologies, very basic fundamental terminologies. Textile. So textile is a flexible material formed by either weaving, knitting, or braiding, crocheting, knotting, right, or by pressing, simply pressing the fibers together so that you form a fabric. Okay, so the basic unit of a textile is fiber, and these fibers, when formed together with the help of weaving or knitting, crocheting, that's how we achieve a textile material. Weaving, it's a technique. Textile, it's a material. Weaving, it's a technique. So weaving is a method of fabric production in which two distinct set of yarns, that is warp yarn and weft yarn, they are interlaced with each other at an angle of 90 degree. So there would be an interlacement at an angle of 90 degree, two set of yarn, one is warp yarn, another one is weft yarn, and there is an interlacement that is happening at 90 degree angle, and I will show you a few visuals to make this clear. Okay, so please observe the garments that you are wearing, and in those garments, if it is not a knitted one, so probably if it is a woven one, so you will see yarns or threads running in this pattern and interlacing each other at 90 degree angle. So the yarns that are put longitudinally in the fabric, if it is a fabric yardage and the yarns are put longitudinally, if the yarns are running longitudinally, they are known as your warp yarns, and the one that runs at 90 degree to the warp yarns are your weft yarns. So there is another visual here. So this is the end of the fabric, which is also known as selvage of the fabric. So if you get to observe this selvage in some fabric, right, so just observe the yarns that are running through the length of the fabric, they are your warp yarns, and the yarns that are passing at 90 degree angle, they are your weft yarns. Okay, these are the few explorations done on cardboard loom. So I have these samples here with me, I'll show you later on. Okay, so this I have already explained. Warp yarns are your lengthwise or longitudinal or vertical set of yarns in a fabric, or weft yarns are your horizontal or transverse set of yarns in a fabric. So now I'm very sure that you can easily recognize warp and weft yarn. If it is a woven fabric, you can easily recognize these two set of yarns in any of the fabric that you are wearing, or if any yardage, fabric yardage that is there with you, you can easily recognize it. Okay, so for weaving process, today we are going to learn cardboard weaving. Right. So in weaving process, there's first thing is material. So material, we need a textile material, and a textile material would be used for warp and weft. We need technique, so the technique is weaving, and how weaving happens, that's something that we are going to learn. Before that, let me explain you loom. A loom is any machine or any equipment, or it could be anything on which you weave a fabric, right? And on the loom you have certain primary motions that are known as shedding, picking and beating. So in order to interlace, so like I said, woven fabric would have your warp and weft interlaced at 90-degree angle, and in order to interlace these warp and weft yarn to form a fabric, you need a loom. And in today's workshop, we are going to create our own looms. Okay, so how shedding happens, this I'll explain during when we get onto the piece, I'll explain you then. But for the moment, just to understand that shedding is the process where we open two sets of yarns and we pass weft inside that. So these are, for example, if warp yarns are passing through, so some of the warp yarns will lift up and some of the warp yarns will remain down, and this way we will form the shed, and with the, from this shed we will pass the weft yarns. Then second one is picking. Picking is the process of passing your weft yarn, and beating is the process where the last weft yarn that you have inserted inside, you are going to beat it towards so that it forms the fabric. And all these steps we are actually going to do today with a small sample that we will be creating here. These are the different types of loom. So loom could be any machine, it could be in any form, right? We can create our own looms. Anything which have a potential where you think that you can stretch these warp yarns longitudinally, so that can become our loom. So there's another loom, this is a hand loom. Again a hand loom, a very small table loom. This is a pit loom. Normally on this these kind of loom we weave our saris, or traditionally the kind of looms that are used by Indian weavers. Here a weaver can be seen wearing weaving a sari. Again it's a pit loom. It's a automatic or a semi-automatic loom where all the operations are being performed automatically with the help of power. Okay, now finally let's get started with our DIY, and for that we are going to create our own loom like I said. So how can we do that? For that you will need a piece of a discarded cardboard, right? So these days we get these courier parcels or the corrugated box, you can use them. You can use the cover from your old notebook, right? But make sure the whatever material you are using, cardboard you are using, that's sturdy enough to hold your yarns. So it cannot be too pliable that the board is bending. It has to be sturdy. And you can cut your loom in any shape that is possible. That I have few samples here. I'm going to show you different types of loom formation. So here you can even see that there is a branch, a small twig branch is there, and it has a potential to stretch the yarns in longitudinal direction, and you just insert the weft inside it, and that's your loom. So we are going to create this kind of loom today, and the second step is, after we do our loom, second step is warping. So warping are our vertical yarns or longitudinal yarns which run parallel to each other, and we are going to place these yarns on this loom and then insert our weft up and down, or maybe in some other pattern. Those patterns also we are going to discuss. And these are various techniques or patterns by which we will be inserting our weft. So the warp yarns are going to be done in the same way, but how we are inserting our weft, that might vary. And these are the techniques that we normally use to insert our weft. So these are plain weave, where you insert weft one up, one down, one up, one down, like that. This is Egyptian knot, sumac, shag, and all these techniques we are going to see here right now. Okay, so now let's get started. So the very first thing that we will need is a cardboard. Can we have the top camera, please? Okay. So I have these cardboard pieces that were left over from some packaging. I think it was shirt packaging. So I saved these pieces and I am employing these pieces for my loom. Okay. So what we are going to do is you can cut your loom in any shape, any size, like I said. So these are the few shapes and sizes that we have here. And also we can have these looms formed in this way also. So if you have any wooden block laying at your home, or wooden sticks, you can just form this kind of frame and put some pins on both the sides at some distance, maybe ½ centimeter or maybe 1/4, depending upon what thickness of this yarn you are using. So you can create your own loom. It's just that you have to put these pins on the opposite side. So from this side to this side, and then you can just simply put your warp yarn on this frame. So it's actually half done. This frame is half done. I was still working on this, and this is something that I'm working on a concept and creating a wall panel out of it. I have another sample here. So these are again regular frames. Normally we always have something like this just lying in waste in our houses. So even without pin, you can just stretch any thread. So when I say any thread, it's important that your threads are very sturdy. They cannot be really very thin so that they break easily, because your warp yarns, irrespective of any kind of loom you are working into, your warp yarns are always in tension. So when they are in tension, so that means your warp yarn should be very strong, should be sturdy, and moreover you are going to pass your weft yarn, and there will be a lot of play and rubbing happening with your warp yarn. So it has to be thick and of good quality so that it does not break easily. That's another one. And I have these small ones also. So again, this is a frame loom where you have your pins marked at around ½ centimeter, and these are the warp yarns that are stretched, and these are the weft yarns that are interlacing at an angle of 90 degree. I'll show you this in the close-up later. And one more. So actually This is how we are going to place it. These are our warp yarns. So you can do variations to your sample by adding different colors of yarn or using different materials of yarn or even painting your warp bed. So you just paint your warp bed with some solid bold motifs and then use a plain colored single weft yarn. So it will give a very nice effect. Okay, so these are few. Okay, can we have the top camera? Yeah. Okay, so these are the different shapes in which you can cut your loom. This is a loom, and one of the shape that I recently took out was this. So this piece was taken out from this one. So as you can see, it's little fraying because I have already done 4 to 5 pieces on this cardboard, and it was not very sturdy. So as you can see, it's kind of, you know, become pliable. So that's the reason why this loom is in this condition, and this is the output from this loom. Another thing is always your sample, the sample that you are taking out from the loom, it is going to be little smaller in size as compared to your original loom size. The reason for that is, on your loom, your yarns are in stretched conditions. They are held in these brackets under a lot of tension. So when you are removing these yarns from this cardboard or from any loom, what happens is they lose the tension, and that's the reason you know, the fabric, the final fabric is little shorter in the length. So irrespective of whether it's done on power loom or it's done on hand loom or any kind of loom, this will always be the case. So make sure whatever sample, for whatever purpose you are weaving, make sure that you use the right kind of frame, right size of frame, so that your final finished product is of the size that you want. Okay, so this I'm going to cut later. Before that, I'm going to show you various materials that we can use for our warp and weft. Okay. Now, right now we are not doing anything that's needs to be wearable. We are creating few pieces that are art pieces. So anything that you can stretch tightly on a cardboard piece will be your warp yarn. So this will be my warp yarn, okay. But if you look at this thing, this is a different material. This is a electrical wire, and I think it's a copper wire. I cannot really make warp yarn out of it, but possibly I can insert this as my weft. So this does not qualify for your warp yarn, but possibly as weft yarn. Then these are a few acrylic yarns that we have at our home normally for various crafting activities. Again, these kind of yarns, this nylon cord. Okay, so one of my last piece that I was doing was with these chains, and literally I use these chains as my weft to create an artwork. This is again an aluminum wire of certain thickness. This is a cord, and these two are the t-shirt yarn. So anything that is lying waste in your house and have a potential to, you know, really become a warp if it is very strong and can hold the tension, or if the yarn is you can really insert it up and down, it can become your weft yarn. It's suitable for your weft. Okay, so now let's create our loom, and I'm going to cut a piece, 6 by 9 piece. That's what I require right now. So if you have any other dimension in your mind, maybe you can try that dimension, but right now I'm going to cut a 6 by 9 inches piece. You can use these cutting mats and paper cutter, or even use scissors for this purpose. So I have these heavy duty scissors which can cut this, so that's the reason I'm not using paper cutter. You can simply put your scale over here and use the paper cutter 2-3 times like this, and it's done. But I'm not using it, as I have these nice sharp heavy duty scissors with me, and I'm going to cut this cardboard on that line. Okay, so this is my loom piece that I want, and now I'm gonna make some markings on this. So 2 centimeter from this edge, 2 centimeter from this edge. Similarly on this side also 2 centimeters. I'll mark 2 centimeters distance. I'll draw a line. This side also. I was telling you that this is how we are going to put cut marks on both the sides, and this is how we are going to cut. So you can cut it either way with the help of this paper cutter, or if you are not you think that you are not accurate, then in that case please make sure that you extend these points as lines towards the extreme end, right, and then you can cut them. Okay guys, so if you have any question, please keep posting these questions in your chat box, and I would love to take these questions maybe during or towards the end of our workshop. Any question regarding admissions, regarding the techniques that we are doing, anything that you want to ask regarding MITID, you can post your questions in the chat box. Okay, hi Poonam. So Poonam is asking us what is the gap between each cut. So like Poonam, I said here I have used ½ centimeter distance between these cuts, but it depends upon what kind of yarn you are using and what is the final finish that you want to give to your final piece. So like I was telling you, can we have the top camera angle? Yeah. So like I was telling you that if this is a t-shirt yarn, and as you can see it's a very thick yarn, right, it's quite thick. So if I'm going to put it here and then turn it and again going to put here, and maybe if I can take a full round also if I want to keep fringes, something like this. So here in this case it's going to be quite thick for me to weave, and that's not what I want to achieve right now. I want to use a thinner yarn. so that it's easy for me to work. So probably a thinner yarn like this one. These are the regular cotton yarns that we normally have, multi-purpose yarn that we normally have at our home for various things. See, the more the distance is, you cannot keep this distance too much, or you cannot keep this distance too little. The reason for that is, if the distance is too long, probably your woven fabric will be quite loose, it won't be that compact. And if you have these cut marks very close and probably you are using a thicker yarn, then it will be very difficult for you to work on this piece. So it depends upon what kind of loom you are using, what kind of material, what's the purpose that you want to achieve, the final look and feel, all that. So to begin with, for this workshop, what I would recommend you is, for this size of loom, for this quality of cardboard, please use this as ½ centimeter distance and 1 centimeter on both the sides. 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, and all these are placed ½ centimeter apart. Now I am going to start my warping process, and I am going to start with step 1. So take this loose end and put this inside, because your cardboard is not pliable, too pliable, it's quite sturdy, so it's gonna hold on its own. So see, I'm giving it a stretch, and now I'm taking it on the other side. Start first cut, first cut. Now on the false side or the opposite side, you're gonna take a turn, right? So I took this turn, and then I'm going this side, and again on this side, and on this side, and this is the way I am going to do it again and again. It's very interesting to actually upcycle things that are around us. I always look, being a designer, not just me, but I think all of us as designers, we always look for ways by which, we can still continue use the things that we really like, that we really love. Okay, so this is how I'm doing it. I'm not going to do this for the whole piece. I'm going to stop here. You guys can experiment it for the whole length. Right now I'm just going to I need this much width only. So I will stop here, and I will put a knot here. So that my loose ends are secured. Okay, so our loom is ready, our warping is done, and we are good to go with inserting our weft. But before that, I am going to tell you one more technique of creating your own yarns. And how is that we are going to do? For that, you are going to need some old t-shirts. Okay, so we have, hi Surya, we have question from Surya, t-shirt yarn, is that recycled from old t-shirt? If yes, how? Okay Surya, so you asked the question at the right time. This is what I am going to tell you, how we are going to create these t-shirt yarn from our old t-shirts. So I have already done 2 hanks and I'm going to create this third hang. So can we have the top angle camera? Yeah. So this is the old t-shirt and it has a lot of stains over here, and then there was a hole here, and it cannot be used in any way. So probably I could have put a patch, but then these stains were there, right? And the condition, the fabric is also not that great in condition. So what I'll do is, any t-shirt that you have, in order to get the continuous yarn, first do the marking. If you are not pro at with using scissors, so first do the marking. So from one armhole to the other armhole, put this line, put this marking, use your scissors to remove the top part. Okay, so this t-shirt which had a hole and a lot of stains here, I have removed this top part from this t-shirt, and this also I am going to use or recycle somewhere, so I am going to keep it on the side. Now this bottom part where you have this hemming, I am also going to remove this part where you have your hemming, where you have your folds. The reason for that is, otherwise if I will keep this, it will lead to uneven yarn thickness, because here the fabric is already folded and it is thick. So I am going to remove this part also where your hemming is done. Okay, so now I have this nice tubular shaped fabric with me, and I am going to place it, lay it flat and put half-inch marking, or half-inch is this much, or I can even put little lesser, maybe 1/4 or half centimeter, like that. But if you go for really thin yarn, probably the the less length, probably the thickness of yarn won't be that great and it might not be that strong. So being on safer side, I'm going to mark half inch. So these are half-inch marking. Okay. Now on one of the seam, okay, so this t-shirt was a seamless t-shirt. There is no seam actually on the both side, but normally you will see that there is seam on both the sides, this side also and this side also. Normally your t-shirts will have seams on both the sides. So what is that you're going to do is, place your scale like this, or maybe mark 1 inch from one end of the seam, right, and leave this much space. Now what you can do is, you can mark, extend these points that we have marked as full lines. So you can use a pencil, you can use pen, you can use chalk. I prefer to choose pencil normally for this kind of marking. Okay. Okay, so if you are not a pro again with using scissors, then mark all these lines. For illustration, I am marking only 3 lines here, and now I will start cutting. And I will cut only till this line. So here we all have already marked one line, which is 1 inch from this corner, and I'm going to cut these in equal sizes. So like I said, if you are not a pro, please do these proper marking so that you cut these strips evenly and you get a continuous nice yarn of same thickness. So this yarn can be used for various other crafts also. So maybe for knitting, or maybe simply for some kind of braiding technique, macrame. So you can do a lot of DIY things from this kind of t-shirt fabric. What happens is, with the technique that I am showing you right now, with the help of this technique, you are able to get a continuous yarn. If I will just cut them from this point till this point, what will happen? I will just get a short length of yarn. But the technique that I am showing you right now, with this technique you get a continuous and long length yarn, which you can use for various other things also, other DIY projects also. Okay, so this is my last strip to go, and I have got this nice fringy t-shirt. Okay, now again I am going to place it down, and I am going to take one strip and cut it diagonally. Okay, so this is my first strip. I've cut it, and now I am going to open it, open the seam. So open it like this. Okay, and what you can do is you can just hold it in your hand, or whichever way you're comfortable with. You can put it on a table or on a flat surface, so whichever way you're comfortable with. I've cut the first end. Now I'm gonna continue it in the diagonal direction. Can we have the top camera? Yeah. So diagonal direction, and you get this nice seamless continuous yarn, and this was such a small size of t-shirt, and with this t-shirt you have got almost, I think, 4 to 5 meters of yarn, or even more than that. And don't worry about all these unfinished cutting. So here I have cut, but the cut is not very smooth, and there is this raveling that's happening, and it's not straight. It's perfectly fine. It's not cut very smoothly or in a very straight manner. Now what you are going to do is take your yarn and start stretching it. Give it a little pull, little stretch, and what will happen is, when you be stretching it, the yarn will start coiling and it will form a tubular structure, and that's how you get your seamless t-shirt yarn. Isn't it easy and interesting? Normally when we go and buy t-shirt yarns, we get them for, firstly it's very difficult to get them in the choice of colors normally at our local craft store, but only some specialized stores might keep these yarns. So we can easily create these yarns at our home with waist t-shirts and use them for various things. So this is my yarn, the hank is ready, and I will just make a ball out of it and start using it for my project. Okay. Okay, so let's get back to our loom. Now let's start learning various techniques. First one is our plain weave. Okay, so how do we insert our weft yarn? These are warp yarns. Now I am supposed to insert weft yarns over, above, one up, one down, one up, one down, one up, one down, one up, one down, like that. But how's that I'm going to do that? So for that, in any kind of loom, you have this kind of device which serves the purpose of a shuttle, and it's a carrier for your weft yarn, right? So I was using this shuttle for a bigger size of cardboard loom. For you, anything maybe in a smaller size that you can use as a shuttle, you can create your own shuttles. I can just tie my weft on the ski and insert with the help of the ski, or maybe this kind of key. Then you get these pins, plastic tapestry needles, no, we call them as tapestry needles. So you get these needles that you can use for inserting your weft yarns. All right. And I'll pass through it and the weft yarn and like this. Or you can use any wire, just put your yarn on this wire, hold it like this and use this as a carrier for your weft. So anything, or even these safety pins. You can use big size safety pins as a shuttle. So this device, which is a carrier for your weft yarn, is known as shuttle. You can have shuttles for various colors, right? So like that, in this case, for this loom, I was weaving it in 3 colors. One is red, my warp color is same, that is cream color, and my weft color is red. For this I have used the red shuttle. For black color I am using this shuttle, and for the cream color I am using this shuttle. And you can do various variations in the way in which you are weaving. So I will bring it closer for you to have a look at the details. Okay. Okay, so we just made this yarn and I am going to use this yarn only for our weft. So probably I would need around 2 meters of yarn. That's the normal, Indian way of measuring. So if you go to your tailor also, normally the tailor would measure like this. So we, designers, we need to be pro with all these small techniques and things, and even learn to know how the industry works. So even if it is a bigger export house and you have a well-trained master G over there, but the way in which he measures would be like this only. If you have to measure 1 meter, so it's this much. Okay. So our first technique is going to be plane weave, and for that I'm going to choose this safety pin. Actually, I'm going to show you these both the techniques with tapestry needle. These tapestry needles you easily get at your craft stores. You can just ask the craft store person. These are plastic needles, or even you get them in metal also. But these are good to handle, so you can use any of these. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on plane weave. So plane weave is simple. One up, the next yarn is going to be down, the next yarn is going to be up, the next yarn is going to be down, then up, then down, up, down, up, and you can check if you have done it correctly. I'm getting it closer to the top camera. Okay, so we are ready for the insertion. And this is our first pick. So when we were lifting some set of yarns up and some set of yarns down, that process is known as shedding. That motion, loom motion, is known as shedding. And this is picking, where we have inserted our pick. We also call this weft yarn as pick. So this is also called as picking. Okay, so how we go about the second round is the yarns, the warp yarns that were going down will now come up, and the ones that are on top, the ones that are floating on the top, will go down. So it is going to be like this, 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 and for a closure view for you, I'll just bring it near to the camera. Okay, so here we have one up, one down, one up, one down, one up, one down. Okay, so we have learned two motions. One is shedding and another one is picking, where we inserted our weft yarn. Now the third motion that we learned was beating, and how we beat is, for that we need a comb. So a white toothed comb will work in this case. So I have this comb with me and I'll bring it close to. So if any extra yarn, for example, I have not inserted the yarn properly and there is a loose and extra yarn this side, so I'll pull it over the other end and beat my fabric. And now I'm going to do it quickly, take 2-3 rounds so that we create some inches of the fabric. Okay guys, so I hope you are doing it and enjoying it with me. It's a therapy. You can use your time, you can use your raw materials are at your home. You really don't need any special equipment to create something out of this. So maybe just give a try to the technique, play with colors, play with the thickness of both warp and weft yarn, play with the thick these distance, and with that you can achieve n number of variations. So it's very interesting. Okay, and don't bother about these, fraying things. If anything is hand done, if anything is handmade, that's the beauty of, handmade. It has its own natural appeal to it. If it is perfect, if it is with complete finish, then probably that's not something that's hand done. So don't bother about these things. These all elements on its own are going to add some beauty to and texture to your final product. Okay, one thing we have to be very careful while we are inserting this yarn is that we don't have to stretch too much. Otherwise, what will happen is your warp yarns will lose their place and they will start skewing like this. So that's something that we should avoid doing, and we have to be very careful that always these warp yarns are placed at the same distance in parallel to each other, and weft yarns perpendicular to the warp yarns. Okay, so this is our plain weave. It's also known as tabby weave. It's used very commonly. Most of our garments, like our regular shirts that we wear, so most of our woven garments are made of plain weave. It's very sturdy, breathable, and if it's done in cotton, it's one of the best fabric on the earth, best weave. Okay, so this is what we have achieved. This is the piece of the fabric, and I'm getting it a little closer to the top camera so you can see. Okay, so up, down, up, down, up, down. This is how you're going to achieve this. That's one. So within this, you can play with color. You can start the next color, maybe red or some contrasting color, or maybe color in same tone, monochromatic colors or shades. You can do variations. You can weave half of it in one color and half of it in another color with various thickness, and moreover you can use any, you can even play with the material of the yarn. So maybe first yarn I have used as t-shirt yarn, and then second yarn I'm using this cord. Right, or maybe acrylic yarn or anything that's there, or the kind of art piece that I want to make. Okay, so we are done with our first technique. Now let me teach you our second technique, and I hope you must have observed towels that we use every day. I am also going to teach towards the end, I'll teach you how to finish these loose ends. So towards the end I'll teach that. Okay, so I was saying that all of us must have observed towels, right? So our towels are kind of tufted and they have certain texture and certain protruding yarns on the surface. So the weave that I'm teaching you right now, it's typically the technically the same weave that is used in making our towels. Of course, the towels are made on power loom normally, or in handloom with much finer yarns, but more or less the technique is same. So what we are going to do is, approximately we are going to cut our yarns into these small pieces of approximately 3 inches and cut a few pieces or as much in number as you want in your fabric, in your piece. So please use a scissor. I am using a paper cutter. You can use your scissors to cut it. So this technique is also known as pile, or we can also call it as shag. Okay, so what we are going to do is take this piece now, insert this under your warp, bring this on this side and like this. Okay, now this yarn you take over the other yarn and bring it under. So basically if you observe, it's like this. Okay, and there could be 2 ways of doing. Either you can keep the direction on this side, you can keep the direction the other side and here, or you can even start doing it along with the fabric here itself. So just pull it this side. So I have a same sample done here for you. Now this is done. Take the another set of 2 yarns and make sure in this kind of shag weave when you're doing, you have your warp yarns in even number. Okay, that's the second one. Now the third one, guys, if you have any questions, please ask me regarding your admissions, regarding the technique, regarding your portfolio, regarding the entrance exam. It could be anything, you can just ask me. Please visit our website. There's a lot of information that's available in general regarding the institute, regarding the various programs that we offer at MIT-ID. Visit our university website also. There you will get to see initiatives that happen at university level. Okay, so I have just finished doing one line of the same technique. And what I'll do is what I can do is I can either go for creating the same weave and extend it till this portion, or I can just cut it here in uniform length. So that it gives a texture to your piece. Okay. So I have a sample ready that's kept ready with me for the same technique. Okay, so here is the sample, and this is the same weave that I've done multiple times. So either you can do it multiple times or you can do it just once, depending upon what is that you want to achieve. You can create your pieces. Now this is the plain weave that we did, this is the shag weave that we did, right? And now we are going to learn this one, which is sumac or Egyptian knot. So for this, what we are going to do is we are going to use this needle and leave some fabric here so that we can secure it later, and just take turns around your warp yarns. So it's like you are wounding your warp yarn. Okay, for more clarity, because I don't know how the picture is you are receiving, so for more clarity I'll start it from this side. So I'll just wound it like this. It's a kind of, you're just coiling around the warp yarns. Very beautiful actually. If you repeat it for quite a length in your piece, you get a very beautiful and nice texture, as you can see here. So I have used both sumac and Egyptian knot here. Okay, so if you want to relook at today's workshop and the presentations that I have shared with you, the link from this workshop will be shared on MIT ID's YouTube page. So you can just go there and relook at the various techniques and the presentations that we had today. Okay, so this is basically the coiling process that I was talking about. Yeah. So this is how we are going to coil. Right? And the same thing we have done here in this piece. So with these three techniques, you can create magical artworks. I'll show you one very interesting neck piece that I have done, and it was done on cardboard loom only, where I have used a different kind of yarn, a jute yarn I have used, and then this weft I have left just like that and secured it by tying some fibers and put these small fringes over here, and actually it's a plain woven yarn, right? And this can be used as a neck piece. So this is one of my favorite neck piece, and I do have other explorations like this. Another one is where you can create any wall panel. So this is again an example of plain weave with variation in colors and material. So if you look at the texture that we have got here, the texture is different as compared to these two portions, because the weft yarn is different. Another very interesting thing is that if you don't take these yarns back, right, and you wound them just like this, just in a repeated motion like this, right, you just wound them around. Instead of taking them back just here, you wound them. So what you can do is, with the extra leftover yarn that's there on the back, you can create all these different elements. So these are warp yarns only, and I have braided these warp yarns, divided them into two sets. They were just as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 warp yarns. Okay, so only 12 warp yarns. I divided them into half and created these big beads. So it's a kind of holder thing for the whole piece. So just explore, I mean, possibilities with basic techniques. The possibilities are endless. With material, with thickness, with color, you can have n number of variations and n number of artworks that you can do for your portfolio and for yourself also. Okay, now I am going to tell you how is that you are going to take these fabrics out of the loom, and how is that you are going to secure this. So one technique of securing is that when you are starting, you can put the knot here itself. Second technique could be that you take this below on the false side of the fabric and stitch it and secure this loose end with your sewing thread, thin sewing thread and needle. So that's something that I have done in this piece. So here in this piece, if you could see, here, okay, that's how you can secure your weft ends. Now how do I take this sample out of the loom? So if you have a continuous yarn that you have wound around this and not done like this, then in that case, from the back side, just cut these yarns that are floating on this side where you have not woven anything, and once you cut them, you put knots. So again, here in this case, the warp yarns are green in color, and I have put knots over here, right? So warp yarns are green in color and I have put knots over here, so they are secure. Okay, and that's how we take the fabric out of the loom. Another way could be you can just sew it. You can think of your own techniques actually, you can develop your own techniques, own way of doing things. But this is what I normally do. If the warp yarns are, there's some extra warp yarns that I want to use as an element, as a fringe, or I want to further braid that yarn. So I normally keep it like that and just tie a knot. If I just want to end the fabric just from that point, so I try to sew it with a small thin needle and yarn. Okay, so I hope you had a lot of fun while learning all these techniques, and I'm very sure that you're going to make some interesting work for your portfolio. Don't forget the purpose here that we have achieved here over and above learning what weaving is, what are the various techniques that are used, certain textile terminologies that we have come across, but don't forget the real purpose. That's basically upcycling. So upcycling can be done in various other ways. Think of the ways where you can reuse the material, repeat the material, so that the product longevity increases. You add value to the waste material which you were not going to use, you are going to discard, and that way in some way we it could be a step towards protecting our environment, protecting our society, and protecting our economy, and being more sustainable in our approach. Okay, so do we have any questions regarding the workshop? Do you guys like the workshop? Yes, no? You want to learn more? Can we have more answers in the chat box? Okay. If you have any questions, please drop in your questions in the chat box. You can visit our website. You can visit our university website as well as the institute website. On institute website, you will have information on about various programs and courses that we offer. Thank you, Aparna. Thank you so much for attending the workshop. Thank you, Poonam, and thank you. Yeah, so we hope that we get to see some interesting work from you during your probably your studio test or interview if you have applied at MIT Institute of Design. So just browse through the website, apply for admissions, and if in case of any query, please feel free and reach out to our admission teams. MIT is a great place for design education, and you can connect with our admission team on the given numbers that are there on the website. Okay, so I think if there are no more questions, so we can end this session here, and over to Bhavika now. Thank you everyone. I really had good time getting hands-on with the material and enjoyed working on this piece, and surely I'm going to come complete this piece and show you when you're here at MIT ID. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Professor Vandana Nautiyal for the most interesting session for today, Design Connect. Thank you all for joining us and being part of this Design Connect. Thank you to our technical team. And lastly, I would request the technical team to please play the AV of MIT Institute of Design. Thank you all.
I make the world graphical.
I add value through my products.
I am an animator.
I am a filmmaker. I develop trends.
I transform designs to reality.
I create environments.
I translate stories to furniture.
I design experiences.
I'm an immersive media designer.
I design mobility.
This is not only a design institute.
This is a design lab.